Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. How are you today? Yes, this is the reflection that I was supposed to put to release last Wednesday before Easter, but I'm sorry, so I slipped again, and it is Monday after Easter, and I would like to propose a reflection that involves somehow Easter. Has nothing to do with the crucifixion, with any suffering or anything, but it has to do something that is portrayed, is captured in the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 4, and it's also captured in that series, The Chosen, first season. I don't remember if it's episode 3 or 4, when after Simon has the difficulty with fishing and money and taxes, when Jesus, by the beach, helps him to catch a lot of fish, and then he comes off the boat and he acknowledges that Jesus is the Messiah, and he launches himself on his knees, and he makes that reflection about his procedure, his behavior, and Jesus tells him one or two words, one very short sentence: follow me. This is also captured also tells that to James and John a few moments later. And they do that, they follow him. And it's also captured in the movie Jesus of Nazareth, very old, I don't remember when it's from, it's very long as well, 6 hours. And Jesus starts recruiting his disciples by just telling them, follow me, and they leave whatever they're doing and just start following him. You see, the magnetism of Jesus must have been really, really strong. Now, in Matthew chapter 4, verses 18 to 22, we have the following. As Jesus was walking beside the Sea of Galilee, he saw 2 brothers, Simon, called Peter, and his brother Andrew. They were casting a net into the lake, for they were fishermen. Come, follow me, Jesus said, and I'll send you out to fish for people. At once they left their nets and followed him. Going on from there, he saw 2 other brothers, James, son of Zebedee, and his brother John. They were in a boat with their father Zebedee, preparing their nets. Jesus called them, and immediately they left the boat and their father and followed him. So the question I would like to ask you is, if Jesus appeared in front of you now and told you, follow me, would you? Now, you don't need Jesus to appear in front of you, because his teachings, his energy, his magnetism is with us all the time. So why don't you? Why don't I? Why don't we? Why do we insist in proceeding in our deviation? I'm going to call deviation because if you recall the answer from Paul the Apostle to the question 1009 from the Spiritist book, it talks that all the suffering derives from a false movement of the soul, because we live from the path that God traced for us, and we go on our own paths. So we don't follow the path of love, understanding, of fraternity. We follow the path of the ego, the vanity, the selfishness, the pride. And then, of course, because that's not in accordance to the laws of God that are engraved in our consciousnesses, of course we suffer. And Paul goes beyond. He tells that the suffering that derives from this false movement, so he calls it, is what's going to make us to suffer inside and to wish to go back to the path of salvation, as he calls it. So the question is, Jesus already told us to follow him. Why aren't we? We know that whenever we choose to follow a path that's not the one that Jesus invited us to follow, actually he didn't invite us to anything, he just reminded us, because we have the laws of God engraved in our consciousness, so we don't need any remembering, any invitation. We know that. And we know when we're doing something right and we're doing something wrong. For the sake of ourselves. Nobody has to know. We know. So the question is, why don't we follow him? The invitation was done 2,000 years ago. And yet we insist in going in a path that we know is not the right one for us. But why do we do that? Why can't we just live our fraternal love, embrace ourselves, help ourselves? Why do we have to fight each other? We know that that's not going to lead us anywhere anyway. But yet we still do it. So this is the reflection I'd like to invite you to consider today. Is our Easter reflection, late Easter reflection. I'd like to ask you if you find that there's any value in it, please share. Leave your comments because I'm not teaching anything. We're studying together, and I just shared my opinion. I would love to read your opinion. I would like very much for you to share if you find any value, like it or dislike it. You don't have to. You're not obliged to like everything. And if you find any value, as I said, share with someone. And invite this person to leave their comments, because then we can have a joint study. So yes, so this is going to be it for today. And on Wednesday, 2 days from today, we should have more. Okay? Thank you very much. See you next time. Bye.